to BlueGamer Bluecast Live. I'm Adam Blue. Where each week I will talk about gaming things that I've been playing, some of the gaming news that's been coming out here. Just love video games. Been following the industry for so long. I feel like I have so much knowledge to impart. But yeah, for today's episode, we'll be talking about Armored Core 6 because I've got that, been playing it, got some impressions, thoughts. And then Gamescom news. There was a lot of stuff that was announced because Gamescom is this week. Um, yeah, not only just game announcements, but updates to games, closer look to some things. And then the PlayStation Portal. It's a handheld, but not what you think. Although, for me personally, it's exactly what I want. So I'd love to get into that here shortly. And it's hot here. I'm kind of wearing a a tank top, just put this over to look a little more professional, but it is hot here in Texas. This time of day, my office starts baking it's like an oven. I have a little AC behind me, but I won't have it on just because that'll cause a lot of noise. But to get started, let me talk about what I've been playing this week. So last episode, I talked about getting back into some older games I've been meaning to complete. One of those, Streets of Rage 4. I completed that. Real fun game. It's easy to kind of figure out the meta of what to do when playing that game, although I like that it has options to make it harder. Then there's some DLC I'm going to want to get to eventually. I love beat 'em ups, and I don't play them enough. So I even downloaded Battletoads to start getting through that because I never really beat it. That's the thing. Like, these games are sort of basic for me. They lose my attention rather quickly because they are kind of basic, even though they are fun. Like, fundamentally, at their core, they're a really good palate cleanser after playing some heavy games. I guess being the other game I'm playing, which is Company of Heroes 2. I consider the first Company of Heroes to be one of the greatest games of all time. Loved it, played it. I don't know if I've played that more than any other game. It is possible. But when I first started playing the second one, I don't know. I wasn't feeling it, but I went back to it. I was like, I really want to play it. I love once I get into the loop, and I loved it. The thing is, they kind of scaled back the base building. They made it where the base building, even though it exists, it's totally pointless. They should have just scrapped it and make it where you call in units just at the bar at the bottom, or just like how classic Command & Conquer had it, where you don't click on a base to build a unit. There's just a taskbar on the side where you can choose what units you want to build. That's really the approach they should have went for with this, instead of making it where you build bases, because even your units wouldn't come from that base you would build. The only point of those bases existing was so you can click on them to then choose what you want to build. I guess it could be that the enemy could destroy the base, then you can't build your infantry, but if it gets that far in the game, you're going to lose anyway. I never had any issue with that with the campaign. I haven't played multiplayer. I'm really about the campaign. Multiplayer I loved. I played a lot of the other Company Heroes and multiplayer, but I'm really about the campaign stuff. So, I beat the initial campaign that it comes with. Then there's like this American campaign that is DLC that I'd have to get, so I might get that. But then I noticed there's some other missions that I could, and I have to figure out the DLC because there's like this Platinum Edition, Gold Edition, I think, Master Collection. All these DLCs, really what I got to try to sift through and get to is what are the ones that have just like the single player missions. That's really what I have a lot of fun with. And I really can't wait to, I love RTSs. So like this is holding me over until Tempest Rising or potentially Company of Heroes 3. Even though, there's complaints about, that's what's weird with Relic. As they went with the Dawn of War games, they got worse. As they went with the Company of Heroes games, they got worse. As EA went with the Command & Conquer games, they got worse. And that's why I'm excited about Tempest Rising, or that one, was it Stormfront? Stormgate? Stormfront? Yeah, that other one that's coming out that's more like the StarCraft. So you got the Tempest Rising, that's like Command & Conquer. You got the Stormfront, that's like StarCraft. Those are going to be coming. And then Age of Empires is its own thing. I know 4 just got the Xbox release, but we also need the Warcraft equivalent to come back. These games are fun when they do them right. And I think what makes them done right is when you have an engaging single-player campaign. bottom line. Which brings me to the next topic, and yeah, because is that all I've been playing this week? I think so. It's really, with everything else I'm doing, I can only play select few games here and there, and that's pretty much what I've been. Oh, Turbo Overkill. I got that at release when it was early access, I think, and then it just got its full release. I jumped back into it, played a little bit of it. That's actually a fun boomer shooter, although I hate that terminology because I am not of that generation, even though my generation is what got into those games, so I don't know. It's funny, I guess. That's a good one. Maybe I'll play that some more now that I've beaten Couple of Heroes 2, and I'm going to wait later to get the DLC. But, going back to single-player campaign experiences, the next topic I want to get to is my impressions of Armored Core 6. I've sort of played the previous Armored Core games, less on the PlayStation ones and more when they started being Xbox, and I thought they were cool in terms of being mechs that you can customize. But I've never been engaged with the single-player component, the mission-based structure that these games have. They've never been that interesting for me. And I gotta say, that's the exact same thing with this one, 6. You'll start a mission, and it's just like, blow up these things. Okay. And then the mission's over. The most fun are the missions that have bosses. The bosses are fun, because it reminds me of more of a PvP-style thing, a one-on-one, trying to figure... And I love it, too, when a boss is hard enough that I die. If I beat the boss on the first try, it's like, well, I figured out how to cheese, or figured out something. But when I die, and then I have to rethink my approach, I really enjoy that. So I appreciate that aspect of this is the bosses. But it's something funny. When Armored Core 6 was first announced, like it got a lot of hype because of From Software and Elden Ring being a 20+ million sold, it's way beyond that now, title. People were like, oh, From Software's next game, Armored Core, it's going to be another Souls-like with mechs, and that's what people were talking about, Souls with mechs. IGN did a video about that, and then I put in, well, why do I have to comment, especially IGN, and I commented saying, it's not going to be a Souls-like game, but it will be a From Software game, and someone commented telling me I was wrong. I'm like, okay, but no, if you play Armored Core right now, it plays like the old ones. I feel like they slightly tuned the controls to make it a little more accessible, especially with the healing option that the game has, the repair kit. So, in that sense, it works to modernize it, and some positive aspects of it. The graphics are amazing. Luckily on my machine, I can run it at 4K, 120 FPS. There's not an unlocked frame option, but I can do up to 120, even though, for instance, my monitor does 144 hertz. Can't go beyond that, but, 120 is enough. I do like the unlocked, but I like that I can keep it at a consistent frame rate. And actually, let me change screens real quick. So this was when I was playing yesterday on my Gundam Explained YouTube channel. That channel is a lot bigger than this one. So yeah, Bandai Namco, who is in charge of the Gundam franchise, got me a key for this game. I think because there's a lot of gaming stuff I help with, but also it's mech related, and that has to do with Gundam. And so I was streaming it yesterday to kind of give it a shot, and yeah, like as I'm playing it, it was pretty easy to go around, shoot the enemies. And it's funny to watch because the boss battle I kept losing over and over and over. And then I finally beat it, but that was fun. Like, I love it. That's not Souls-like, but that's things I like about the Souls games, is those trying to figure out the bosses. It's like an RTS. I'm trying to figure out the strategy, But it was interesting. So when I was first streaming it, early on in the stream, it was not lagging, but not stuttering, but choppy. And I had to reduce the graphical settings to 60 FPS and 1440p, and then it was a smooth gameplay experience. But if I did anything above that, I don't know if it's OBS or what, even though I have it where it scales to 1080 for streaming, yeah, it wouldn't take it. So yeah, I had to scale it back. But it's just good to know that it was that easy, that quick. The game runs well. There's no frame pacing issues. something that Elden Ring had issues with, and this is using the Elden Ring engine. So I think it's cool that they were able to get that stuff figured out because it does look really good. The draw distance is amazing. The art design is amazing. It's just like with Elden Ring. Like, I don't think the graphics are groundbreaking, but the art direction on all fronts works. Just design of the levels, the characters, everything that's going on around it. But to go back to, my main impressions of the game is it's kind of boring mission structure. The game is really for mech enthusiasts, which I would kind of consider myself that, but for who like to customize mechs, because that's the main point here, is you're constantly unlocking parts and then go and customize your mech from arms, legs, torso, head, weapons, and then painting all of that individually. And so I think for people that love that, that's what this game does well. And then it has its PvP. So I think it's where I feel like the single player portions are more of a glorified tutorial to like use, test out all your different possible customizations you can't have for your mech, and then go online and play against people. I wish that games like this would have a better single player campaign structure. I'm not looking for everything to be a giant open world, but the missions can be very quick. You can go in and it's like, yeah, destroy 4 helicopters. Okay, mission over. The most fun are the missions where, like I said before, there's a boss at the end, and tons of fun. Like that, when there's a boss battle, that's where I'm a lot more engaged into it. So maybe later on, as more missions unlock, they get to be cooler. But just right off the bat, up front, the actual place that you're utilizing your mech, it's all boring. But tons of options with customizing your mech, the weapons, etc. So it's hard for me to recommend this game. You would have to be an Armored Core enthusiast, a mech enthusiast, or just a gamer that plays everything. I think if you're more casual or picky about the games you're playing right now, especially with something like Baldur's Gate 3, this is the anti-Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate. Yeah, this is for the people that aren't playing Baldur's Gate or whatever other game. Like, there's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's like totally a multiplayer, asymmetrical multiplayer game. Yeah, it's good. This is a good contrast to the games that have been coming out recently, which is pretty neat. So, anyway, that's that topic. So, the other thing I wanted to talk about is this PlayStation Portal remote player. So, there's that Project Q, I think that was leaked a while back, and I was really interested in what PlayStation's going to do. In the past they had the PSP Vita, both were handhelds that I loved, put a lot of time in them, great games. They just never sold, and it's very interesting now when you see something like the Switch or the Steam Deck, how game portability is coming back. I mean, we even have the Asus ROG Ally, and then Lenovo's coming out with their PC handheld. And there's two differences here when it comes to utilizing these handhelds. One is where the handheld is the all-in-one. It has the processor, the graphics, the power consumption. It makes these things a lot more expensive, and there's a lot of gotchas when it comes with that. And then there's the other side of it, where you can do it with a tablet or a phone, is when you're just streaming the game. But the thing about streaming the game is sometimes it's just not worth it, because there could be buffering that leads to artifacting. I would say that in general, when it comes to streaming games, I don't do it. I think I would say Stadia, Google Stadia, probably did it the best for me, in my opinion. Actually, I went through Hitman 3. Was it Hitman 3 or Hitman 1 and 2? I forget. On the Google Stadia, and it was just great. And I don't know if it's because it was built from the ground up on Linux. So it didn't have to, they were able to restructure the architecture in order for it to work well with streaming. When it comes to the PlayStation PS Remote Play, I have occasionally done it actually, and I thought it worked very well. And when xCloud, on the other hand, to me, it's like iffy. And it even seems like Microsoft themselves are kind of backing out of the cloud strategy. So we get this PlayStation Portal remote player. It's pretty much, I think there's a better picture of it down here. It's like, yeah, it's like a dual sense controller split in half with a tablet in the middle. And so what it does is it doesn't have the PlayStation hardware at all on this. In this, there's no RAM, memory. There is just for the basic functions of loading the OS. You're streaming it from your home console, from your PS5. So there's a couple things here. So one, I think with this proprietary like link technology that they've talked about, with PS Remote Play, the way that works, I think there's a strong contender here for like really. It's like they're narrowing in the focus of Remote Play. That way they can like maximize its potential instead of making it where it's over 3G or 5G or anywhere else. It's like really focusing it on Wi-Fi. Now you can be at another location and stream from your PS5. And so I'm curious with, since this is dedicated remote player for PlayStation and you can only stream from a PS5, if the technology is going to be there and it's going to work well. The other part about it is it reminds me of using a Switch. The thing I like about the Switch, although I don't use the Switch that much because of the game library compared to something else, is I could go anywhere in the house. There could be someone else wanting to use the TV, or it could be I simply want to do some dailies or challenges in a game, whether I'm upstairs in bed, or I'm in the kitchen, or in the living room, or I just don't want to hang out in my office all day, because I tend to be in my office all day if I'm not working or making videos, or playing on my PC. I kind of like to be places. And being that, like, especially on the PlayStation, I'm playing a lot of Gundam Battle Operation 2, which has that dailies component to it. I really do like that I can do that. Like, for $200, and that's the price point, I am going to buy this thing. This is exactly awesome for me. Especially because, PlayStation does have its exclusives. Now they're being ported to PC. And the other thing is there's the Steam Deck, right? And I was originally going to buy a Steam Deck, but I decided not to. Because at the end of the day, I realized, okay, I'd be spending a lot of money on something that really is limited to Steam. Now, that might seem like, well, limited to Steam, what do you mean? And, well, it's not like I don't use just Steam to play PC games. And then if I'm going to load Windows on the Steam Deck and circumvent the sort of that Linux-based Steam dashboard, I might as well then get the Asus ROG Ally, which I'm more interested in, but I want to see this Lenovo first before I get one of those. So it's like I wouldn't get a Steam Deck because there's games on Epic. There's games on Xbox, the Xbox app, PC games. There's other games that I would be playing that are just not something that's loaded onto Steam. So, but when I look at the PlayStation thing, it's like, okay, this actually makes... I stopped playing for that PlayStation subscription that gives you free games, but this would get me back into that, especially if it does stream it well. So... I really want to get this. On one hand, I want to pre-order it and get it the day it comes out, but at the same time, I want to listen to reviews. If people are saying, hey, it works, but you're going to know you're streaming, then I'm be like, you know what, I might as well just use my laptop to do remote play with the DualSense 5. I think what's cool about this is the ease of use, where you can just turn it on, you're on your PS5. The remote play, like on a laptop, is you have to plug in the controller, boot up remote play, wait for it to load up. I don't know. I'm really pleased though. The $200 price point, I'm pleased about. A couple other things, they don't have the battery life down yet, but I would assume it's going to be better than something like a Steam Deck or Asus ROG Ally, just because it's not a GPU, CPU heavy use. It's really just the controller is probably going to do most of the work when it comes to battery power. So it also has a 3.5 millimeter jack, but it also doesn't use Bluetooth. What they're going to be doing is that PlayStation Link technology I was talking about is going to be used for the Pulse Explore wireless earbuds and Pulse Elite wireless headset, which also work with a PS5. That is pretty cool. That's more money to spend on something that I already have solutions for when it comes to listening to things. Although those Pulse Explore wireless earbuds look good, and they use some magnetic, technology that's usually used in higher end. I wonder if they say it down here. It's stuff that's used in, like, higher end, headphones, but it's gonna be in this Pulse Explorer, which makes them actually a good price. Now, I do have some earbuds of my own, Galaxy Buds, and they're really good. So it's like, that's the other thing. I already have a solution. I wouldn't need that. But the fact that I can just plug in a headphone jack, 3.5 millimeter jack, that I think it is easy. Yeah, maybe some people don't like wires, but that's going to be easy. If I have it like on my nightstand, plug in some headphones, do my dailies in GBO2, whatever. And that reminds me too, like Ghost of Tsushima, I'm near the end of it. And there's all these little missions I could be doing, these challenges, these whatever. And that's another game where I could pick up 10 minutes, get a few things done, put it down. I really think this Portal is going to get me to play PlayStation more than I have been. I've really been just using my PlayStation for Gun and Battle Operation 2. But when I'm sitting at my desk, I'm going to play the PC. And then, in the living room, we have the Switch and the Xbox. But I'm usually not playing there that much. And if I play something on the Switch, I just grab it in handheld mode. So I really like what's going on here. And that's the thing, because a lot of the Xbox games that I can play on Xbox, I'll just play it on my PC. So I think what I'm coming to is with the other, like when it comes to PC, Xbox, or Nintendo, there's other options for playing games. But not PlayStation, and now they will. And I'm totally down for it. Totally down. Can't wait. Yeah, these things look cool. So did they say when it's coming out? That's the one thing. Will launch later this year. That's pretty cool. Yeah, $199. Oh man, as long as people aren't complaining that it feels like you're remoting, like there might be some latency or buffering. If there's no issues with that, I'm totally getting it. I mean, lately I went on a couple trips with the family where I brought my laptop. One was a cabin, one was a completely different state at a hotel. Both times I was using PS Remote Play on my laptop, and it worked great. I was able to get my dailies in GBO2. This Portal should help with that. Okay, let's move on. So Gamescom, lots of stuff. Let me take a drink. I've been talking a whole lot. Okay. So go down this list. Starfield had a live-action trailer. We'll see how Starfield is. A lot of those games by Bethesda, that team, they're very narrative-driven, and the gameplay kind of comes second. We'll see about that. Black Myth Wukong, that looks great. Just waiting for that. So Rebel Moon, that's that Zack Snyder movie that's based on a Star Wars pitch he made. The trailer had everything going on, and it kind of left me disinterested because it's like, okay, I want something that's a little more focused, interesting story. Instead, it just had a lot of stuff. So we'll see. I don't know. I like Zack Snyder as a director, but I feel like sometimes he needs to be given something. Like for instance, I liked the Batman vs Superman, the Justice League, but I didn't like that Army of the Dead, and then there's something else. And like his Dawn of the Dead was good. So Assassin's Creed Mirage. I haven't looked up anything in that, but I'm interested in playing it when it comes out to see if they do something different. Tekken 8 coming out in January. That looks pretty good. I like the Tekken games. I think I've been playing them all. I even have, Tekken 7 on PS5, and I barely even play it after I beat the story missions. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I don't know if I'm going to play that. I mean, I'm more interested in just to see what they're going to do with the multiplayer. Nightingale looked interesting. Lords of the Fallen could be interesting. I really like what it looks like they're doing with the gameplay. The graphics look great. There was Lords of the Fallen, the first game that was made by the people that made The Surge, and the recent Atlas Fallen? There's all these games. Sonic Superstars. I'm definitely going to play that. And then Sonic Frontiers, the Final Horizon. I played Sonic Frontiers. I didn't beat it. It was okay. It just, I don't know. I think it had some really good typical Sonic stages, but it was around a whole bunch of the open world, open zone, like little puzzles, challenges to do, and it kind of didn't keep my attention. Okay, did I miss something? Because there's yeah, I meant to talk about Crimson Desert. That looks really good. I mean, but we'll see. It's like what I wanted out of Dragon's Dogma 2, which should be coming soon. But yeah, we'll see about that. Let's see. Crew Motorfest, don't really care. Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. I might play it with all these patches and stuff. I mean, I've played it before, and again, it's really narrative driven. So once I get into the meat of the gameplay, I realize, well, there's really nothing here that's new. It's the game is more made for people that want a narrative experience, because that type of gameplay can be done better and has been done better in other games. Stormgate, is that the game I was thinking of that I was calling like Stormfront or something? Yeah, a spiritual successor to classic RTS games like Warcraft and StarCraft. Yeah, this is that game I'm talking about. Love that this is coming out, although I don't know if they actually have a release date for that yet. Armored Core 6, got to play that. Warhaven, Mortal Kombat, Diablo 4, blah, blah, blah. There was also, this isn't everything. Okay, that was all the announcements from opening night live, right? So I wonder if there's any other updates they showed, because the what was it? The hold on, gaming news. That Warhammer 40 Space Marine 2 looks awesome. I can't wait to play that. I love the first one. Oh yeah, did you hear that? I guess Ubisoft, now they have they're pushing forward with their own sort of service, gaming service, sort of cloud gaming as well, and they plan to have Xbox games on there. This reminds me of back in the day with Windows, when Microsoft was like, yeah, we'll have Windows on any computer. And then everyone plays Windows or uses Windows. It's the same thing with this. Xbox is saying, yeah, let's have all of our games available everywhere. Let's see. Anything else going on? Oh, Nintendo Insider teases new GameCube remasters for Switch. Oh, that'll be interesting. It depends on what the games are. If it's like the Wario game, that would be good. Let's see. Get into the other ones. I tried. And on Epic right now, that Homeworld Deserts of Karak or whatever is free. Let's see. This is Gaming News Week 34. Just a site I've never heard of called Ladies Gamers. Not too much here. Okay. Yeah, trying to see if there's any other interesting news that. Oh yeah, Xbox games come on NVIDIA GeForce. So again, Microsoft is putting their games, their software, on other platforms, just like they did with Windows back in the 80s. It made them really popular. So, Sony buys headphone company Audis. I wonder if that's related to those headsets or something. Oh, yeah, details on that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh hey, Talos, Rogue, good to see you guys. Yeah, I'm just going through the latest news here. Yeah, for that DLC for the Shredder's Revenge, I was thinking it was gonna have some more single player, or not single player, I should say, like story missions, but it looks like it's just new characters that you can use in like a roguelike survival mode, which I guess is pretty cool. Let's see. That Killer Clowns game coming out. These asymmetrical horror games seem to be real popular, but I feel like they need to have a strong, again, this goes back to the theme of this episode. It's like single player or just campaign story missions. Like that Evil Dead game was so awesome. Yeah, I played the multiplayer and it was fun. Same thing over and over. I wanted them to take that open world they made and have like a, and they did have story missions, but they were real quick and easy. A full sort of story-based mission thing. Okay, so Phil Spencer wants to preserve at-risk Xbox 360 games. Yeah, because they're shutting down the store. Um, 3 War Games mode fuses co-op and roguelike gameplay with RTS. Yeah, there's that roguelike RTS coming out. That's a demo on Steam. So I can see them combining those elements together. Let's see. Speaking of Star Wars, there's that Dark Forces remaster. I will totally get that. I played Dark Forces not too long ago. I played it back when it first came out, and through the years I would just play it. It oozes atmosphere. Um, let's see. Which, that's an interesting discussion because, I talk about how Gundam will do it where there's all these different universes or timelines. And it's like, I think with Star Wars, they need to do that. But then they kind of do because they have the legacy stuff or the legends. I think there's a name for it. Like, I wonder if they could still make stories in that timeline, like make more stuff, like newer stuff. I feel like that's a thing they could do because I was watching that Ahsoka show and it looks great, but I just can't get into it. It's just not pulling me. It's not making me excited. Um, that's about it because now it's getting to a few days ago on here. So anyway, yeah, that's about it. Week was pretty interesting with the games, the game news from Gamescom. We have Armored Core with Starfield coming out here pretty soon. I'm gonna try Starfield myself. I hope it's great. I hope the gameplay mechanics themselves pull me in because I'm not gonna really care about the narrative. So I hope that's what pulls me in. And I'm trying to think of October's going to be busy. I just keep thinking about like what's coming out pretty soon. I know October is going to be busy, and who knows when that PlayStation Portal is going to come out. This is later this year. There's not that many months left, so anyway. So how long did I stream for today? About 34 minutes. I think that's pretty good. I think I covered mainly what I wanted to talk about. I don't know if there's anything else that went on in gaming news to talk about. I think that's about it. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And hopefully I'll keep on doing this every week. So I'll talk later.